Yeah. Good to see you.
Okay. Sorry about that brief intermission in this bubble wrap attack.
Oh, Miss Hutch.
Before we do the
Good to
sign,
see you.
before we do the sign, Brian Mills, who was the helicopter pilot that night, who lives in Puyallup, Washington, sent these up and asked that we present them to you guys, and I figured you'd probably want one on behalf of your dad. So I'll read it out. To David Christney, Martin Charles, Clifford Charles, Bob Amos, thank you. An oft-heard phrase, but in this case, I want to share my reason for saying it. 4 people rescued from the rock they scrambled onto when their pleasure craft sank. A young lady injured in a fall from a cliff, flown to a hospital where she fully recovered. 7 firefighters and 2 fishermen rescued from rising floodwaters. 2 swimmers rescued from open water where their boat sank. Medicine transferred from an airport to a hospital to treat a young child. A severely injured motorcyclist transported to a hospital. Involved in a mission to rescue 528 passengers and crew of the cruise ship Princendam, October 4th, 1980. All survived, and many more. My thank you, this is from Brian, is an echo from the hundreds whom I was able to save because of you. So those were all some of the highlight crews that he went on to do after the Bruce 1 incident. Brian Mills, Lieutenant Commander, U.S. Coast Guard, retired aircraft commander of CG 1461. Rich, I don't know whether Rich wants to take some photos or. Rich still around?
Mark's on it.
So. Okay, so what I would do is put those on the table there, and then we'll come back up and we'll unveil the, and then you guys can talk. We're going to need a way.
I brought my speaker. My speaker.
Okay. Did anybody else from the Bamfield Historical Society want to come up for the unveiling, or just go for it? Heather says go for
I
it.
think Heather should be here.
I think so too. Come on.
All right, come on, guys.
Sorry, don't put me on the spot.
Thank you.
Yeah, so on behalf of the Bamfield Historical Society, and I'd say the community of Bamfield, and everybody that's here today, and the people that Brian just mentioned in that, I think it's really important that it's 50 years that we let people know history is important and that the story should continue well past us. So if you and Dave want to hold a shot, this is like the price is right. There you go.
This will be posted in front of the fence outside the Coast Guard station, so all the people coming into Bamfield will be able to see it, and it'll be up there by the end of the day, so you can see it on your way.
So at that, I would invite Clifford, the Thai Hahway of the Uchakwasset First Nation, and Dave Christney, coxswain emeritus, to grab the mic and tell us some tales. Out of your way.
Hey, my speaker. Don't be shy now.
I'm sorry, guys. I gotta say that a lot of people don't know that this song was written by Elvis Presley. No, I'm not gonna sing. I'm not singing today. I sing on the boat. I used to sing many times going on the boat with my dad. And so I got a voice for singing, and I don't mind saying that, it's just fun for me. I know Johnny has fun. He's a whaler, you're a whaler, and a guitar player. But I want to thank everybody for showing up. It never occurs to me that time passes so quickly. 50 years. I never would have thought of that. And when we did this deed, I was 25 years old, and David was 35 years old. I don't know how old you were, David. And we were young guys, and my dad and Bob, we had a really good crew that we worked together. We had fun. One of the stories I like to tell about my dad is that when we were on the boat, everybody felt safe. My dad was in the ocean for a long time, sailing and trolling and running boats, canoes. We built boats, 20-foot canoes. He dug them out. And when Dave and I were with him, we for sure were safe. There was no problem. There was never going to be a problem. And and Bob, he was just a great guy. I'll tell you one story about him. Nothing to do with the job, but the Hegstroms lived next door here, and Neil Hegstrom was just a tiny little guy. And we had all kinds of magazines, some really good magazines around the place. and some with nice pictures in them, but I like to think that I bought those magazines. There was really good stories. They were good stories. So anyway, Neil, he's a little guy, and he's touching them, and he wants to have a look. And Bob says, "Oh, Neil, don't touch." "No touch? How come?" He says, "No cookie, no lookie." Bob said, "No cookie, no lookie." And Neil says, "No cookie, no yucky." You know, he was such a great guy with kids. Just a great guy. And a great guy on the boat as well. I have to pay tribute to my captain, Dave, who wants me to talk all the time. He doesn't want me to be quiet, so all the time. Dave is my captain. I still say that forever. And we crossed the ocean in many areas of the West Coast. We've been 50 miles offshore. We've been through Barkley Sound. We've been up to areas off of Ahousaht and off of Victoria, Port Renfrew. I just want to sing that song. I've been everywhere, man, you know. And Dave is my captain. On the night of the rescue, we went to rescue people. There were lights on the water, people yelling for help. And when we got there, we found two guys who could not speak. They were in such grave danger of extreme hypothermia. They couldn't step, they couldn't walk, they couldn't get off the life raft that they were laying on in the ocean. We dragged them in, and their feet were dragged behind. And we put them downstairs, and we stripped their wet clothes off and blankets on, and they would vibrate down to the floor, and we'd have to lift them back up again. And so we're heading back to bring them back to the Red Cross Outpost Hospital. And one guy says, "Well, what about Reed and Rusty?" "Well, what are you talking about? Where's our friends Reed and Rusty?"
That was the captain.
And Rusty goes,
His name was Stan Beal, too, just to add to the thing.
Yeah, so much stuff about that call. So much stuff. And so I had to yell up to Dave, he's driving to Bamfield, and two more guys. "What?" He didn't use the words "what," he said. So we turned back to look for that the next guys, and we couldn't do it proper because Cape Beale is Cape Beale. It's a bad place. There's breakers and there's darkness. It was almost midnight.
And snow.
And it was snowing. And we were dragging our rubber boat, the canoa. It was one of the first rubber boats that was invented. That's a long time ago. They were new then, eh? We were 50 years.
5.5 horsepower too.
Yeah. So anyhow, I know it was 25. My story changes as I tell it all the time. I remember Reed DeBell at the 2008, what was that anniversary at that time?
100th anniversary.
100, yeah.
Station.
And I'm telling the story, I was in my place, I was telling the story. And he says, "Hey Cliff," he's way in the back, "that's not how the story goes." He said. So anyhow, we were looking for them, and so me and my dad, there's this like automatic stuff that happens on board our boat. No orders given. We just say we should do this, we should do that. So me and my dad, we jump into the rubber boat, and nobody else is going to drive this thing but me. So I start the engine, my dad's up in the boat, and we go in behind the rocks at Cape Beale, and it's calm waters where we went behind. And there's, hey, flashing around with our dim flashlights flashing. And there's that guy up there, and it's 30 feet off the water. "Hi, you just wait there, we're gonna get you, stay there." He couldn't jump in our boat 30 feet. We wouldn't ask him to jump in the ocean 30 feet. And he couldn't get off on the other side. It's breaking white water on over top of him. And so we went back to the lifeboat and we reported this guy on the rock, and Dave reports to Tofino Coast Guard radio, and rescue center is getting informed. At the meantime, the U.S. Coast Guard Port Angeles says, "We have a helicopter ready. It's ready to go right now if you want." And we said, "We want." So they came up in 1 hour, and they came, and we were telling them where the guy is on the rock, pointing our lights on him. And when we finished talking on the radio, we got him on board.
Oh yeah.
Just like that. They got him on board, they scooped him up, and is there anything else we can assist you with? So, yeah, there's one guy still, and so we're gonna look on the outside, if you can look in the breakers and see if you see him in the ocean. We can't go in there, it's too dangerous. So they were going back and forth, and I don't know how long it was. And there's Alec Thompson on the radio, he says, "The helicopter just crashed in front of the lighthouse," he says. Some more superlative languages. That was the cabin of that boat. And David, no hesitation, turned the boat around towards the front of the lighthouse. He's in front of the stairs. Oh, so we sort of knew where that was in the darkness, and he's heading towards Cape Beale. And our bow light, which is not on a remote, in those days, that was 50 years ago. The waves come over and the light would shine in the air. And so I, being the young guy, jump out right away, and I'm gonna go fix that light. So I wing nuts and tighten it down and pointed ahead. And my dad's yelling out the front window, he's in the cabin. "You better get in here right now," he says, in the strangest voice. Oh, that's not good. So I start going to the back, and the railing goes right around to the wheelhouse, and right then breaker hits us. And it feels like the boat's like this.
It was.
And I was on the top side of this boat hanging onto the railing with arm locked around it. And I'm thinking with my sou'wester, there was no survival gear or anything like that on board. We had rain gear on, boots and a life jacket. And I'm still breathing air. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm still breathing air. There was 53,000 metric tons of water falling on me. And I thought the boat was like it's gonna come back and I'm gonna be underwater. But no, it leveled off. And I go into the wheelhouse, and Bob and Dad, and David look at me. And they say, "Oh,
You're pretty ready to kiss him.
you're still here. Thank Christ you're still here." And they all had white faces, and you can see it glowing in the dark, their white faces glowing in the dark.
But Clifford was right. I mean, the boat was right on his side. I stood out of the wheelhouse chair, and I was standing on the wall of the cabin, looking down through the window here, and all I could see is rock, mussels, and barnacles on it. This is gonna be
Yeah.
pretty hard when we hit.
But
the boat was designed for stuff like this. The water coming underneath it popped right off. But yeah,
I don't even think we hit that rock. I think
We
we were
didn't touch
on
it.
we were on the breaker, going over. And some people will say the hand of God was with us and looking after us.
Definitely was.
And in my older age, I'm saying my ancestors were looking after me, and that's why I'm here. That's why Dave's here. And we had a memory today. I'm sure glad you're here, Don. And so this is a unique thing that happened, and I got to say thank you to the Historical Society for this, putting it together. 50 years. It makes me and Dave and Don feel really good that we're here together to remember what happened. And it's not understandable that I'm running out of things to say. So.
How'd you get the guys out of the helicopter?
I just don't understand.
How'd you get the guys out of the helicopter?
The hell? Oh, okay.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I was trying to make that story short. we get inside the breakers, and it's calmer waters up. The rocks are Cape Beale here, and we're in the ocean, and the breakers are here, and the helicopter's here, and we got lights on, and there's the helicopter, and we're still going ahead. And I'm saying, rotor, 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 and there's the rotor coming towards our glass, slams in reverse, full speed, and that rotor stopped, and we never hit it. And again, me and Dad jumped in the rubber boat, went to the side of the helicopter, which was floating like a boat. Door slides open, and everybody tumbles in like Marines. And we said, "Where's your survivor?" And this is him. He looked like them because they put him in a flight suit. There was 4 of them now, and there was a 3-man crew. And so we got back to the rubber boat, and so our world is turned around now. And we don't know up or down, and our radar's not working because we're close to shore. Radar stops working when you get too close to shore. And so I get on the seat beside Dave, and I grab the mic and I says, "Alec, which way is out?" "Oh," he says, "you just got to go turn right and then go straight ahead." "Okay, Alec," and we're going, and I said, "Alec, there's a breaker." I said, "Oh, just turn left and go straight ahead." So we went, and then we turned, and on the radar we could see that land was forming behind us, and we were in the clear. Is that good enough, Johnny?
So what happened next? Another rescue.
We brought them all in and brought them to the outboat hospital and treated them for hypothermia. Nurse Margaret took care of them. And we had one broken down boat because the tossing around, it stirs the fuel up. And we had to take the old lifeboat, which is now in Port Alberni up on display there. It was still running, still hanging around. And we searched the next morning in daylight for the 4th guy, but we never found him. We found his coat.
Yeah.
It was a Mustang green coat, pulled inside out. We figured that it was a body that was bobbing up in the ocean, and finally the body sank and pulled his coat inside out.
The sleeves of the coat were all full of little tiny chunks of
Chunks of the boat.
wood and everything. When we grabbed it, we thought, oh, His arm was in there, but.
Cape Field ground that boat up into chunks of wood.
And
Oh.
the helicopter that came up, it was equipped with I think the first of the night suns, great huge spotlight, just lights up like daylight.
Yeah.
And it also had the hypothermic recovery hot air system on board.
Yeah.
And that was the first, and that was developed by a doctor from Victoria.
That was 50 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, how the weather changes so, right? In 50 years. The weather really changes. Look at it.
I
Not
think-
that old.
Did you have to go straight on another call for 12 hours?
Yeah,
too?
we went, they broke us off the call at Cape Beale, and there was another incident that happened the night before, or during the early morning. There was a boat called the Starshine towing a herring skiff up,
Oh,
and
I forgot.
the Starshine broke down, and the guys abandoned the Starshine and hopped in their herring skiff. And it had a compartment up forward you could get into. I'm sure the
Oh.
two guys were pretty crowded in it. And the helicopter was coming up to assist us, flew right over top of it. But they didn't have any, they heard the helicopter, but they didn't have any flares or anything. And then one of our R-class cutters found them the next day. And the cutter took them and the skiff in tow and so on, but they didn't want to worry about the gill netter, so they sent us out to tow an upside down gill netter 12 miles in. You can imagine what that's like, you know, put the engine in gear and move a little bit and take it out because the boat's going down. And it took us, I don't know how many days, but hours, but the total hours we were underway that particular incident was 22 hours. And I'd gone to bed the night before because I had a miserable cold, just was brutal. And the next day, I had no cold, so it totally disappeared. I couldn't live it. What a way to get healed.
One crazy story about lifeboat station. We'd have people popping in to say hello, our neighbors, from everywhere. And there was a little chair, which was almost a bench, and I was sleeping on a bench, and somebody would say, "How come Clifford's always sleeping on the job?" And David says, "I guess he's tired." I heard him say that, "I guess he's tired."
Were you guys around when the US Coast Guard came up to salvage the helicopter too, or with the other crew?
Yeah.
Yes, actually, the helicopter, he sent down at Cape Beale to start with, and I think the first meal, the lightkeeper's wife and everything fed them, but it was just too much for them. They had like, I don't know, 10 guys on board, a bunch of divers and everything. So the Marine Station volunteered, and they came in and landed at the Marine Station, and we had a kind of a get-together there with all the American crews and so on. And then the next day, they found out that my wife had never flown in the helicopter or anything, so they said, "We'll be here a certain time in the morning." And so we flew with them all day. They came in and the boat and diving officer from the Marine Station, he wanted to go too, so they've got him lined up, they got the back door dropped down, and they've got their divers there. And one diver keeps sitting in behind him and pushed a little bit further forward. And they finally hovered about 12, 15 feet off the water, and these guys all jumped in. And then when we were finished that, we just went playing around. We went up to Tofino, we got fueled up. And the Chinook had bullet holes in it, it come from Vietnam. And we got fuel, and we take off, and we're taxiing down the runway. And that's new to me in a helicopter. You know, I don't know how much the trees were getting closer and closer and closer and closer. I guess that's enough. Up we went. And we flew all around, and of course they sat Nancy right up on a little seat between them, so she was quite impressed with it. But, it was a fun trip, that part of it. And they felt they had 95% of the chopper.
Yeah.
But just before we got in there, it had hit the rock, and right below the light, the fog alarm building there. It hit the rock and one front wheel hung up. And they thought maybe that was gonna hang up and then you could break up real quick. But that wheel broke off.
Yeah.
And that let them drive, float back out into the water until the boys got in there with the rubber boat. And apparently that wheel eventually floated out of there and around and into the bay. And it's still out at Cape Beale today.
Is it still there, Karen?
Yeah.
It's still there.
Yeah, we're excited about
Just
it.
put a plaque on it.
I know, I was hoping we could have flowers and, you know, do.
Yeah.
What I was wondering is, where's the door?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And then in a way, when it was time for the survivors of the Bruce Run to go out of town, they asked, how can we get out of here? And I said, well, you can take a plane, or you can take a boat, or you can drive. And Reed said, I'm gonna drive.
Are you guys good for a couple questions?
Reed, I just wanted to say one thing. Reed the Bell crashed twice that night, once in a boat and once in a helicopter from 200 feet in the air.
Wow.
Thank you. My name is Thomas Rush from Checklisted. Thank you for your story. It's really touching. It's tears to the eyes and how brave you were. My question is, your medals, how do you earn those medals?
Okay, the first ones to step on board was the U.S. Coast Guard, and they awarded all four of us the Silver Life-Saving Medal, which is this one. And then the Canadian government after that.
1 year after.
Yeah, 1 year after awarded us, the boys got the Medal of Bravery, and I guess because I was in charge, they gave me the Star of Courage, which is this one.
Because you're my captain.
And the one in the middle is for service distinguished service in the Coast Guard.
Thank you. That's amazing and more than well deserved. Thank you.
I got another helicopter story. Yeah, those helicopters from the United States, they're two engines, one in front, one in back. And they came and landed in our yard, and we were living down there with our young family. And Annette and Connie, where did Connie, just tiny little guys. And our windows at that house where we lived, they were quite long and they almost to the floor. And this helicopter's taken off and it's breakfast time, and it's taken a long, long time to go. Taken so long to go. And we're having breakfast. And why is that helicopter taking so long? And we all look out the window and there was a helicopter. It was right there. And the helicopter crew was going. What an awesome place to live, right?
Yeah, we were like, could they just leave? We were teenagers, I think. Yeah. Yeah, that lost some years.
Any other questions for?
Can I say something?
Yes.
I'm a wife of a Coast Guard person who worked with the two of you and Dawn, and all those nightly calls in the terrible weather, and my husband Jeff said to me, "Don't worry, I'm with the best." So, referring to, of course, you guys. So not only were you wonderful back then, but you were also very much teachers of the later crews that came under your guidance. So thank you for that. You never felt unsafe. So that's important to
Just one more thing I'd like to say is, because of this incident happening and the medals being awarded and that, then Martin, Clifford's dad, had a one of the big Coast Guard ships named after him. And I think that's all part of Bamfield history and should be followed up on.
That should be a movie, right?
What's the rating gonna be?
Yeah. Rated PG. We have a little bit of tradition that goes on here. We have riot school, Rigid Hull Operators Training School, which was developed and done here at Bamfield. And David was one of the first instructors. And so when David left his captain's chair, he gave it to my dad. And my dad would do it, and we have incidents, and I'm the guy in the office filling out incident forms. And so my dad says, you might as well do it all. Yeah, you try. Oh, okay. So I did. And what else? Oh man, my brain is just going wonky. Oh, here's the important thing I wanted to say, is that I speak a lot to Coast Guard Auxiliary of the Coastal Nations, which is coastal nations, villages along the coast have offered to be auxiliary. And they're all the way up to Prince Rupert. And I get a chance to speak to them. And so when at part of my talk is I tell them that I don't take it lightly that I get to wear this Medal of Bravery, because I appreciate what was given to me. I appreciate what was given to my crew, and sure, you can say heroes, but to me that extends a long, long ways, because I tell them that as Coast Guard auxiliaries, when you go out and you rescue somebody, and you help that person return home to their families safe, they didn't die out there, they didn't get lost, the rescuers are now heroes. They've become heroes. And I tell them that you look around the room at the people with the, that's helping you here in school, as you see the blue uniforms, these guys are all heroes. You've saved somebody, and I say thank you for those that were rescued. You're heroes, unsung heroes. And I just wanted to say that because I say it all the time.
Hey, Cliff. Go ahead. Yeah. So I was fortunate enough to be a bit of a crossover where I joined the Coast Guard at a young age at 22 and got to work with Don and Clifford and Jeff and Ronnie and these old fellas that are now retired. And it was an honor for me to learn from you guys and to feel safe and see how you are calm in the face of danger and just how knowledgeable you were. I just missed Dave. Dave was still hanging around on the bench. He had to put in some time till his sick time went out. But now I'm that old guy. I'm the guy that's about to retire, and I've got a whole new swath of young people coming through. I've been able to train some of these guys, and it's all because of you guys that gave me that confidence and that ability to do it. And I'm proud to be part of this team and proud to have been able to work with you guys and carry it on.
Maybe the final question is, where was Heavy Weather Hegstrom in all of this?
He was his time off.
There you go. That was probably a good thing.
Yeah, he was on his.
Hey, thank you, Clifford, for mentioning Dave and his riot school, original riot school instructor. So this, we met, in December?
Yeah.
We had, was that 40 or 50 years? 40
40
years of this school, which
Since the
used to
school
be in the
started.
top of the old building down there for and then the riot instructors here got some new jerseys made up, and this one already went to Victoria for me to deliver to you, so now I just drove it all the way here. And There you go, they're kind of a little bit small. The floor is yours, so however long.
Yeah, we're done.
You're done? One question.
Who would you like to play you in the movie?
Honestly, it should be a movie. It's really an awesome story. Honestly, it should be a movie. I acted in it once and that was enough.
I'd just like to ditto what Johnny said. You guys, all of the retired guys that are here, they were instrumental in us learning to be good Coast Guard people, and thank you all. Guys. And you guys too, you set the bar way high and trained us all to be on that bar, so thank
See, if
you.
we did a movie, we'd have to have 3 44-footers. Yeah, thank you.
I just want to say that there was also a lot of pressure for us girls, the majority girls, right, Fiora?
Yeah.
But we had to know how to run a boat.
Before the dawn.
Yeah, I'd just like to say it's an honor for me to be up here and surprised with accepting this plaque and represent my dad's role in this whole thing. And was lucky enough to, I was 12 years old when the whole event happened, and I remember, you know, and it was 22 hours before my dad came home and got, you know, found out what they had all been through and whatnot, and then was an honor for me to go to the Lieutenant Governor General's house and see them presented with their medals from the Governor General of Canada. That was an amazing event. And then later, to come back to Bamfield and end up working at the Coast Guard and working with 3 of the guys on the same crew, myself, that my dad was on this incident with, and learned from them. And it was an amazing experience, and everybody else, Clay, Jeff, Ronnie, Brian McKay, all the guys from when I started and whatnot, but that was great for me to be part of that crew. And yeah, that's what I have to say.
Yeah, I think I said this at my retirement party evening just before COVID there, that I spent 37 years in the Coast Guard, R-class cutters, buoy tenders, rescue center, inshore rescue boats, lifeboats, and probably, definitely the highlight of my career was working here in Bamfield. We had such a great group of people. We knew what the mission was. Again, the legacy of these folks right here, and we were able to maintain the importance of this base, and it was unbelievable how much money they sunk into it, which was great, and it's still here today. And I'm looking at these blue uniforms, and it makes me proud that it's carrying on. So good work. So listen, thank you, gentlemen, for taking the time to come out here, and it's good to see you again. I'm glad you got your jersey. And thank you, everybody, all these familiar faces, and you know, what a great community. You know, and it is a community, right? It's the whole thing. So, and it's important that we remember these things because you know that's what history is. So, without further ado, I think that's we'll wrap her up until 50 years from now. So thank you everybody for coming out. Thanks to the Bamfield Coast Guard guys.
Sorry, thanks. Yeah.
Thank you, Bamfield Coast Guard guys, for
There are some food and refreshments out there, so just have some snacks and get your energy back. Feel free to wander around the base. We could organize some tours of the boats if anybody wants to go see the boats or whatever, but feel free to mingle and absorb some of this hero energy off these guys here, okay?
Is this the plaque that's down there?
Yes, so there's another one of these plaques on the side of our building that's got a cape over it as well, but we're going to mount this afternoon. And I think the third one, hopefully we'll get on the state deal sooner than later. Thank you everybody for coming and supporting this amazing story.